Hello, welcome to today's broadcast session, and I'm the QNAP hardware PM Jason. Today I also have invited our software PM Sam Lin to introduce about some of the software features about our products. Okay, so let's go to the presentation slide. So today we are going to bring you more information about the QNAP TL series SAS JBOD. Recently we just launched these two new products. So there you can see the 12-bay TL-R1220Sep-RP and then the 16-bay TL-R1620Sep-RP, the 12-bay and the 16-bay SAS Expander JBOD. So in the past, we claim these units are for NAS capacity expansion. But today we are bringing a brand new feature that Sam is going to describe about how you can use the same TL SAS JBOD units to expand the capacity of the Windows Server, and then more is about the VMware application, right? And you can see that the JBOD enclosures are also Windows Server certified, so for sure they can work with the Windows Server and then expand the capacity. Yeah. Okay, so today we will break it down into several topics. So first, I'm going to talk about the hardware specifications of these JBOD enclosures, and then Sam will talk about how you can use these enclosures with your Windows Server together with our Windows Server utility JBOD Manager to monitor the hard disks and also the JBOD unit itself. Okay, and then after the Windows Server usage, then Sam is also going to talk about how you can use it with our QNAP NAS. It's more like a recap, to show you actually these JBOD they are for dual use, not just to be used with a server or the NAS. It can use it with either one. And then in the last topic, we are going to show you some of the recommended ways to connect these JBODs and the cables, okay, to give the most benefits for this kind of connection methods. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at what kind of the connection technologies regarding the external enclosures. So let's begin with the bottom one, which is USB 3.2 Gen 1. Only gives you about 5 gigabit per second. That is the same auto naming called USB 3.0. Okay, and then one speed above this is SATA, eSATA. eSATA used to be 3 gigabit per second, but now it can get as much as 6 gigabit per second. However, the total throughput is still limited by this single eSATA cable, which is kept at 6 gigabit per second. And also last year, QNAP has launched the TL SATA JBOD, which uses multiple SATA lanes for the multiple hard drives and SSDs. So actually, together with the bundled PCIe SATA HBA and the cables, you can actually achieve several times faster than the eSATA JBOD with the QNAP TL SATA JBOD. So it is a very good choice for SOHO and SMBs to expand your NAS capacity or server capacity with those TL SATA JBOD, because the speed is much better. And then above those will be the USB 3.2 Gen 2, which gives you up to 10 gigabit per second speed. And of course, then you will see some, for example, Thunderbolt 3 and the upcoming will be Thunderbolt 4 JBOD units available. And then for the enterprise usage, the most common ways to expand your server storage is the SAS expansion JBOD. With the SAS, the older SAS technology utilizes the SAS 6 gigabit per second. However, each SAS cable can carry up to four signal lanes. So each cable can provide up to 24 gigabit per second transmission speed. Okay, it's 4 times the SAS 6 gigabit per second. And then the current technology is the SAS 12 gigabit per second. So each cable can carry up to 48 gigabit per second, because each cable can support 4 SAS lanes. Okay, So for most of these technologies, we have the corresponding cables and even enclosures to work with your capacity expansion requirements. For example, we have a SAS 12 gigabit, the Mini-SAS HD cables in different lengths, and then the SAS 6 gig and the SATA 6 gig cables, the Mini-SAS cables for our TL or SATA JBOD units. And then for our QNAP TL or the USB JBOD and our TL, the USB RAID DAS, we also provide the USB 3.1 Gen 2 and the Gen 1 cables, and then both in Type-C to Type-C and then Type-C to Type-A for you to connect to your host. Okay, so this many different cables options are available, depends on what kind of enclosures you are buying. Okay, now let's take a look at the disks. So this is a summary of the most common drives you can see besides the NVMe SSDs. Okay, so with the SATA and the SAS, you see that the most affordable price per terabyte, the cheapest price per terabyte would be, of course, the SATA hard drives. But because the hard drives, they use the mechanical parts, the motors, so you have the RPM, rotation per minute spec there. For example, the SATA hard drives are usually running at either 5,400 RPM or 5,900 RPM, but the normal high performance drives can run at 7,200 RPM. But if you look at the SAS hard drive, because of better performance, they can run up to 15,000 RPM. Capacity wise, you'll see that SATA SSD probably gives you the lowest capacity, but if you look at the SATA and SAS hard drives, and even the SAS SSD, you get a much higher capacity. So if you need a high capacity, definitely go with the hard drives. Okay, and in terms of reliability, you see that SAS gives you the best reliability compared to SATA because of the enterprise level specifications. Okay, so the latency is also much lower in the SAS hard drives and SSDs because of the independent controller available there. So you can see that if you want to put the storage in your business environment, be sure to choose these SAS and the SAS hard drive SSDs and even the NVMe for your process-intensive work environment. Okay. Now, another benefit with the SAS is that the dual port can be supported. So, if you are using a dual controller server or even dual controller JBOD, then for sure you want to choose the SAS dual port SSDs or hard drives. Okay. Now, let's get into the hardware specification of these two JBOD units. So the 12-bay and the 16-bay, they are both powered by a Broadcom SAS expander chip, which can be daisy-chained into multiple units together to the same host. Okay, so let's take a look at the front view. From the top right-hand side, you see that there's a power button, and then below the power button, there are several LED indicators such as the system status, link connection to the host, and the fan arrow status. So you can immediately know if there, for example, if there's an overheat with the enclosure itself, or if there's a connection has been lost to the host directly. Okay. Now, both 12-bay and 16-bay models, they come with a lockable hard drive trays. So you can use our supplied keys to lock the drive trays to prevent accidental removal. Okay, in case you so you don't destroy your RAID setup. And the enclosure also comes with a built-in buzzer warning. So when you connect to the right host, we can also issue some alarm warning sound for you to know what's going on with the enclosure itself or with the disk itself. And for each enclosure, we also include 0.5 meter long the Mini-SAS HD cable. So when you buy it, you can immediately connect it to your server and without buying extra cable. Okay, so that's the front overview of these two enclosures. And how can you install the drives? Because this is a SAS JBOD, so it can support both SAS and SATA drives. So to install a 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch drive is very simple. You simply take out the tray and then you use our supplied screwdrivers to install your disk into the tray, and then you're done. Okay, so both 3.5-inch and the 2.5-inch drives can be supported. Let's take a look at the rear area. On the rear side, if you look at the fans, the 12 bay comes with 2 of them, and then the 16 bay comes with 3 of the 8cm fan to keep your drives nice and cool. And both of the enclosures are redundant power supply, so you can be sure that in case one of the power has failed, the enclosure can still continue to work. Okay, and in the middle of the button, there's to the left, there's a console port, which Sam will tell you more about later, how you can use the command line to manage the enclosure itself. And then next to the console port, there's a LED indicator to show the position, the location of the JBOD itself. So when you connect to the JBOD to a NAS, okay, currently only the QuTS and QuTS Hero can support it, then we can show you which enclosure and which number ordering it is. Okay, for example, 1, 2, 0 or up to G or F. The G, the maximum 16 units can be connected to a single NAS. Okay, and next to the location indicator, there are four SAS 12 gigabit wide ports. So because of the 4 ports embedded, you can have a better connection methods to help you improve your performance and also increase the cable failure issue. Okay. Now this is this is an overview of how you can connect either the NAS or your PC server to the TL SAS JBOD. Okay, so for example, if you want a multipath and aggregation, then you can use the connection method shown on the right hand side. The NAS, the host to the JBOD has a maximum 96 gigabits because you are connected 2 cables with it. Yeah, okay, so each cable can provide up to 48 gigabit per second. Okay. Then if you connect all 4 cables from your host to the JBOD, then you can have a maximum of 192 gigabit per second performance. Okay, so basically you simply either your host must have the SAS ports, or you can install additional SAS expansion card into your host and then connect the MiniSAS HD cable to the JBOD and then to expand the capacity. These enclosures also have the built-in Broadcom SAS data bot bandwidth optimizing technology. So basically, if you just look at the picture, it shows data bot allows you to use the more affordable 6 gigabit per second SATA hard drives or SATA SSDs, and then the technology will aggregate those 6 gigabit drives and then utilize the 12 gigabit per second bandwidth to the host to provide as much bandwidth as possible. So you will not be limited to only 6 gigabit per second. Actually, based on our tests, you can get about the 50% enhancement when you install the 6 gigabit drives into the JBOD enclosure. Okay. Now, this is an overview of the overall connection cable and the topology. For example, on the left, there's either a Windows Server or a NAS host. And then you simply install a SAS HBA if the host does not have a SAS ports. And then you use a MiniSAS HD cable to connect to the enclosure. And then with either the NAS or with the Windows, it can support multiple SAS JBOD enclosures. Just take an example here. Shows you that our QuTS and QuTS Hero can support the maximum 16, but the maximum will heavily depend on the third-party operating system you use to connect the maximum enclosures and then the maximum number of the maximum capacity available. Okay. All right. So this is then we will talk about how you can expand your Windows Server storage capacity. Okay. So this picture shows what you need in the Windows Server environment. On the left, there's a Windows Server. Okay. And then you are going to install SAS HBA or the SAS RAID card. Okay. And then later on, we're going to show you what kind of models we have tested. On the Windows Server, you can install the QNAP utility called QNAP JBOD Manager, and then later on Sam will talk about what you can do with that. Okay. Now the Windows Server will connect to this multiple SAS JBOD with the Mini-SAS HD cables, and then the cable will show later how you can connect them. There are so many ways to connect these cables and the JBOD. Okay. And we have actually officially tested some of the compatible Broadcom SAS HBA and the SAS RAID card. So these are the models that we have officially tested, and we're gonna list them on a compatibility list. So basically, in your Windows Server, you simply purchase any of these cards, and then you can use it with our QNAP TL or SAS JBOD. So it depends on how many devices, how many enclosures you want to connect to. You can select different number of ports, and then how you want to connect them to achieve the different requirements. Okay. So let's let Sam to show you what's the features about the QNAP JBOD Manager.
So after you install the Broadcom SAS expansion card to your servers, so you can directly install our JBOD monitoring utility. And that tool you can download it from our website. And when you launch it, you can directly show all the detailed information of your JBOD status. It's healthy, and the system temperature, fan speed, and connection status. Also include your multi-path I/O, NPIO status, and your zone configuration. Also, if you want to configure your temperature threshold, you can click the I show you on the temperature on the middle of the figure. You can see image. You can see it. You can directly configure it. Then, if out of the range, it will send a warning message to your systems.
Also a beep, right?
Yes. And for some old server like server 2012 or some special usage, sometimes you want to multiple server to share your JBOD storage. So you can configure as a zone setting to divide your JBOD into multiple zones. So that your host server can only access the specific zones. And also we provide the detailed disk information, include the disk model, capacity, and the basic smart information. Also, you can use it to locate your drive location. So after you click it, the red LED will blinking immediately. And also, the tool can provide you the JBOD, the connection topology, to show you which port is connected to next JBOD, and the detailed information of it. Besides the Windows Server and Hyper-V, many customers also want to expand their capacity of their VMware server. Of course, our SAS JBOD can easily expand your VMware by the data store setting of it. So allow me to do a quick live demo for it.
Okay. So PC view.
Okay, and this is my Windows Server in my lab. You can see now it's only a C drive. It's only one disk on it. Actually, I already installed a Broadcom RAID card on it. So the model name is a Mega RAID 9580. Now I have a full unconfigured drive. So we can quickly create a RAID via this RAID card. Now I select to create a RAID 10. Add the physical driver into your RAID group. And you can see for 12 terabytes hard drives as a RAID 10. The whole capacity is nearly 25 terabytes. And click finish. Now very soon you can see a RAID card already grouped 4 drive all together as one big RAID 10 disk. So let me refresh. Oh, okay. Now you can see it's already a new disk online. And in the meantime, you can use our QNAP JBOD Manager to check the detailed status of your enclosure, your JBOD, and all the disk. Like here, you can suppose locate the JBOD if you have a multiple JBOD connected all together, and check the enclosure's healthy status, connection type, the power supply type, and the system temperature. Also, you can configure the temperature threshold here. And each disk, you can check the detailed smart information. So if one disk has arrow, it will turn from green color to the orange warning or the red arrow information to show you the detail, and also can support a firmware update for each enclosure or the all enclosure of your storage. And this is very basic usage from the Windows Server with the SAS RAID card. And if you are advanced IT managers, you may already familiar with cluster settings. Allow me to show you another different usage. Now I have another failover cluster with 2 different Windows servers, and also it can run you can see each server with one different JBOD, SAS JBOD, in 2 different servers, and each detailed information can check on it. Also, you can check it on our JBOD Manager, like this one, because the power supply 2 already failed, so the enclosure status is error. And you can also check all the disk information here. And like this one, I use the SAS HBA, so that means it can support the basic topology to show you all the connection from SAS card, which port connect to NAS, the 4th port here. Okay, those 2 are our Windows Server. And if you are running the VMware, you also can choose our SAS JBOD to expand your VMware's capacity. You can see first the data store. The original data store is one hard drive in my system, and I use the MFS protocol to connect other 2 data store. And the system, I already installed one Broadcom SAS JBOD HBA, and you can see the device list. Now QNAP enclosures TL-R1220Sep-RP is already online, and here I have 4 drives in these enclosures. So that means I can easily create a new data store. Like Okay. And define its whole capacity as the VMware specific file format VNFS. And soon you can see I have a new data store already created. Now I have a new data store I remove, and I can also increase the capacity with a different drive. You can select other drive. Next. Later you will see the capacity will increase from 1 terabyte to 2 terabyte. Okay, already done. So that's why I said our SAS JBOD is not only expand your NAS capacity. You can use it on Windows Server or the VMware server. Okay, let's go back our presentation slide. And we also support a command line interface. So if you are IT guy in the server rooms, you can directly connect your PC to the our SAS JBOD via the console port, what just mentioned in previous page, and directly use the command line to configure all the configurations. And you can check this document from our website. And remember, the default password is the 80 on it.
Okay, great. So previous was about how you can use the JBOD enclosures to expand Windows Server capacity and also the VMware capacity. Yeah. Now let's take a look at, most of you already know how you can use it to expand the NAS capacity. So if your NAS already has the SAS ports on the motherboard, or if it's default shipped with a SAS card, then you can simply just use our TL SAS JBOD with that. But if you don't, if your NAS does not have those SAS ports, you can also consider these QNAP new SAS expansion cards. We have this dual port SAS 12 gig external ports, the QXP 820S-B3408 with the PCI Gen 3 by 8 speed, and then the quad port is a QXP 1620S-B3616W. This is Gen 3 by 16. And let's take a look at the differences besides the number of external ports. These are based on different Broadcom SAS controllers, and then comes with the same SFF-8644 MiniSAS HD ports with either 2 or 4 of them, and then of course the speed are different. And then both cards are low profile design, so they can be fit into many of the QNAP NAS models. Okay, we have on our website we have a compatibility list for each NAS model. You can simply check if the NAS can currently support this card or in the future. And for each card, we include all the different brackets, so that also makes it can be installed in any of the QNAP NAS. Okay, whether it's a full height or the half height, the different NAS specifications can be supported. Okay, this is the quad ports version. Now you may already be using some of our previous generation SAS expansion units called the REXP series, and then you may wonder if you can use them together with the new TL SAS JBOD, and the answer is yes. So whether you want to use the REXP or the current new TL, you can actually mix them together with the same single NAS to connect these different older generation and newer generation different SAS JBOD, and then expand your NAS capacity at the same time. This is a comparison table to show you the major differences between the new TL SAS JBOD and the REXP, the previous generation SAS JBOD. So you can see that the 1610U and the 1210U, they support the SATA 6 gig only, okay, SATA 6 drives. But all the other models can support the SAS 12 gig and the SAS 6 gig besides the SATA 6 gig, okay. For the SAS ports, all the previous generations come with 3 SAS ports. But with the new TL SAS JBOD, we give you 4, okay, and then later on we'll show you the reason why we go with the 4 ports, okay. Now, the rail kits will be optional purchase, so those are the corresponding rail kits you can consider if you want to put them onto a rack, okay. So, Sam, how about tell us what kind of QuTS and QuTS hero operating system will be needed?
Yeah, so if you want to use our SAS JBOD, first remember to upgrade your NAS to QuTS 4.5.1 or the QuTS Hero H4.5.1. And after that, you can directly manage all the SAS JBOD and the drive from our app storage and snapshot manager. And you will see all the functions are similar. You can directly use it to do the smart information check, a smart test, and get the secret IHM healthy status, and you can do the disk scan, erase, and performance test.
Okay.
And with multiple JBOD, totally we can support 60 units of JBOD to expand the storage capacities. So that's very easy. Just launch the app, our storage and snapshot manager, then select the function storage snapshots on the left side. After that, you just decide to create a new storage pool or expand the existing storage pool. Then after that, select the which TL SAS JBOD you want to configure, and select the disk, then set up the RAID type, then everything done.
Yeah, so one very important concept that if you want to extend your NAS storage pool,
yeah,
SAS JBOD is the best choice, right? The only choice.
The only choice you can let you set up the more than petabytes capacities.
Okay.
Unit. And besides expand the storage capacity, you also can use the SAS JBOD to be your backup site. So that means you can back up the important data into it, or you can use it to do the snapshot vote. Especially now, a lot of hackers, if you want to prevent the ransomwares, remember to do the snapshot regularly. Yeah. So allow me to do a quick live demo to show how it's worked.
Okay.
So this one is my NAS. Already launched the storage and snapshot. Go to the connected JBOD. You can see the detailed information here. The first one is incursion ID. That's what Jason mentioned. From the JBOD real view, you can see a LED indicator to show you which device on it. And you can see other detailed information, include the temperature, the power supply, and the fan speed. And you can use it action to locate the JBOD if your server room has a lot of similar unit. You can click it, then this JBOD, all the LED are blinking the red colors. So allow me to change the mode screen to our USB cap. You can see now all the LED are blinking. And also you can check each disk's detailed information, include the healthy status, smart informations, or do a smart test. And each drive can also do the simply locate. And you can do the performance test here. So in this enclosure, I installed 8 SSD and 1 hard drives, so you can do the performance test. All the SSD can reach to 550 megabyte per second speed. And after that, you can easily decide to create a new storage pool or new volume of this on this JBOD. Select from the NAS or different enclosures and select the disk you want to configure. Finally, decide which RAID type you want to use. Then, after that, you can easily create a new storage pool, or you can directly expand the existing pool. Here, from here. Also select the drive you want to expand, and choose the RAID type. So very easy to do it. And if you use TL-R1620, maybe 8 units can help you to expand the capacity, storage capacity more than terabyte. If you need a very big storage space. Okay, so let's on my live demo, and let's go back our presentation slide.
Okay, so that was about how you can use the JBOD enclosure to expand the NAS capacity. Okay, for QuTS and the QuTS Hero. So you need definitely at least 4.5.1 and above to support it. So in the end, let's take a look at how you can connect the different cables and the JBOD to give you the best performance and failover support. So we provide different cable options that display the different lengths for you to connect the JBOD to your host. Because for some of the cabling suggestions, you will need a longer cable to connect from between your host and the last end device of the JBOD enclosure. So we provide from 0.5 meter to maximum 3 meter of the SAS 12 gig cable for you to purchase later. Okay. So if you have one SAS card with 2 external SAS ports, then there are several connection methods that you can choose. So the leftmost one has no protection in cable failure, and then no speed aggregation. Okay, simply this is the most simple way to connect the JBOD to your host. But now with the JBOD having the new TL SAS JBOD having 4 SAS ports, now some of the opportunities are there. For example, if you want a multi-path and then also aggregation, then you can choose the rightmost. There are 2 for you to choose from. If you have one SAS card, then the middle one is the one we recommend. So you connect one port to the SAS JBOD, and then 2 ports down, and then the second port on the HBA you connect to the last unit of the SAS JBOD. But to give you the best protection and the best performance, then you can install 2 of the SAS HBA, and then connect each card connect 2 cables to the SAS JBOD to get the multi-path and the aggregation features. Okay. You can also use the quad port. Okay, quad port, a single card with a quad port to achieve the same effect. This shows you also the basic way. If you have an older REXP JBOD that only has 3 SAS ports, then of course you can connect these to for a maximum 16 JBOD. But if you choose this way, no multipath and no aggregation are supported. So it's just a simple connection method. How can you enhance that? Let's take a look at this one. So to give you the best and the most JBOD units available, so you see that the leftmost is recommended. So you have to utilize all 4 ports on the SAS HBA, or use 2 of the SAS HBA cards, and then connect the cables to all the different JBODs, and then each JBOD you link them with 2 cables. Okay, that way you get the maximum protection and also one of the best speeds available. Okay, now there are also other choices you can choose, depends on how many number of JBODs and the cables you want to use. Okay, for example, the rightmost one shows you the maximum performance available if you have just a single host and a single JBOD, and the host has the best performance you can get, then you can get the maximum bandwidth of 192 gigabit per second. Okay, so no matter how you choose, just be sure that if you connect to a QNAP NAS, the maximum supported layers will be 4 layers, and a total of 16 JBODs available. Okay, so to conclude, the TL SAS JBOD not only we give you the most features probably in the market, in the JBOD market, but also we give you one of the best standard warranty in the industry. QNAP is giving you the 5-year standard warranty when you purchase this JBOD. Okay, so you will be covered with any of the hardware defects within the 5 years of purchase. Okay, so that's our today's overview about the QNAP new TL SAS JBOD. So basically, to sum it up, these 2 units are 16 bay and 12 bay, the SAS expander JBOD. So you can use it not only to expand the NAS capacity, but also to expand the Windows capacity very easily. And then QNAP also gives you the Windows Server version utility called QNAP JBOD Manager to help you monitor not just the enclosure itself, but also the hard drive's health information, right? Okay, so thank you all for joining this session today. And if you want to know more, simply go to our website to look at these JBOD web pages, and you can learn more about it. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.